He's down. And pop.
Welcome to QFT headquarters. I'm Fire Chief Joe Jackson, and I want to thank you all very much for being with us. 22nd anniversary of the attacks on our country. Let's never forget the sacrifices made and the courage shown by so many Americans, so many of our brothers and sisters on this day 22 years ago. Before moving on, I'd just like to recognize some great friends of the Quincy Fire Department that have graced us with their presence today. They've gone on their way to be with us this morning. First and foremost, our boss, our good friend Mayor Tom Koch, our chaplain Peter Preble. Chaplain, thank you so much for being with us. And before I forget, please keep John Menz in your thoughts and prayers. Deacon Menz is usually a staple of this ceremony. He wasn't able to make it this year. Senator John Keenan, Senator, thank you so much for being with us. Congressman Lynch, it's a pleasure to have you with us, and thank you. Council President Noel Labana, Councilors McCarthy, Councilman Yang, Councilor Phelan, State Representative Taki Chan, Councilor Mahoney, if I didn't say that, I apologize. I think that's it. All right, let's start this from the bottom. At this point, I'd like to have our chaplain, Peter Preble, read the firefighter's prayer.
Let us pray. When I'm called to duty, wherever the flames may rage, give me the strength to save a life, whatever be its age. Help me embrace the little child before it's too late, or save an older person from the horror of that fate. Enable me to be alert and hear the weakest shout, and quickly and efficiently to put the fire out. I want to feel my calling and to give the best in me, to guard my every neighbor and protect his property. And if, according to God's will, I must answer death's call, bless with your protecting hand my family and me.
Mayor Koch, could I ask you to come up and say a few words?
Thank you, Chief Jackson, Reverend Preble, Congressman Lynch, my colleagues in government, the men and women of the Quincy Fire and Police Departments, to friends who are here today, also, and to remember, but also to support men and women who serve us each and every day. I think we all have a very powerful and strong memory of what happened some 22 years ago. There was a preliminary election going on here in Quincy. It was an absolutely magnificent day. And the word got around quickly. We all ran to our TVs to see what was happening live. Something that is etched in our minds we'll never forget. We must continue to remember all those souls lost that day, all those innocent souls lost that day. Then, of course, the men and women in uniform rushing in to save those. Just incredible sights. Also, it was pretty awesome to see, following that, how we came together as a country. Patriotism was alive and well. The churches were filled. The recruiting stations had lines that people wanted to serve and defend what was under attack. The idea of freedom, what we enjoy in democracy, was under attack. It amazes me how quickly that dissipated. God, I certainly want to see that patriotism someday return to that fervor. I know, too, that following that incident, we learned a lot. There's been many changes that have happened in how we operate as a fire department, the equipment needed. We know that we have a higher cancer rate with men and women who serve in the fire. We're trying to do everything we can to mitigate that. I thank the council for their support, the initiatives we made. I thank the congressman for being such an incredible advocate in bringing federal dollars here to help us with apparatus and clothing. I know Senator Keenan, legislature also provides some special appropriations to us. So I think it's important that we continue to protect our men and women who serve in every way we possibly can. And in that light, I want to thank the men and women who serve. We are a safe city. We have one of the best response times in the Commonwealth. And we have the most incredible professionals that put it on the line each and every day. For that, I'm so grateful. So as we leave here today, let's be mindful of not only those who we've lost, not only keeping the prayers of men and women who serve the front lines here in the police and fire departments, but also we have a number of Quincy kids that are serving in the military, various branches all across the world, doing their duty to defend this great thing we call freedom that sometimes we probably take for granted. So may God bless those we lost. May God bless those who continue to serve. May God bless the great United States of America. Thank you. Thank you.
Congressman Lynch.
Thank you, Chief. Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Chaplain. My dear friend, Mr. Mayor, thank you for allowing me to join you in this memorial ceremony. I know we all have our own personal memories of that day, September 11th, 2001. It actually happened to be my election day to Congress. And at that time, Quincy wasn't in the district, wasn't in my district. At that time, it was represented by my dear friend, Bill Delahunt, my mentor and my friend. But I remember arriving in Washington immediately afterward. And it just so happened that I was assigned to the Oversight Committee to review the events of that day, to find out what happened, how that vulnerability could have occurred, and what actually happened. And I distinctly remember one of the first committee hearings, we had assembled all of the radio transmissions of that day, all of the communications between the Port Authority, between the police department, the firefighters, the EMS, and I remember distinctly trying to find out where the firefighters were on the South Tower as the day progressed, as people were coming out and obviously our firefighters were moving in and climbing the stairs. And I remember distinctly one of the last transmissions we got at, I think it was 8:19 or something like that, before the South Tower fell, listening to a group of firefighters with one emergency medical technician and a couple of police officers from the 82nd floor of the South Tower. So think about walking up 82 floors of stairs on a good day. Never mind, and you could hear in the background the din and the cacophony of them carrying equipment, saws, axes, oxygen tanks, and trying to help people down. And they knew. There were discussions that we heard from firefighters even before they went up. I think it was Engine 6, Lower Manhattan. Two firefighters talking, and one of them saying, I don't know if we're going to come out of this one. And yet they went in. I think the greatest way to honor 9/11 is to realize and remember that the men and women around us today, the firefighters, the police, the EMS, they showed with that same responsibility. Those firefighters that showed up that morning, those police officers and emergency medical technicians who showed up that morning and suited up and got their equipment like every other day, they assume the responsibility that these firefighters and these police officers and these emergency medical technicians do every single day as well. And their families assume that risk. The best way for us to honor 9/11 is to honor our firefighters and our police and our EMS today, our first responders today, and realize the risk that they assume and their families assume so they can keep us safe. We should remember that, because at any moment, any of these men and women could be asked to make that sacrifice. And we should cherish their willingness to do that. Quincy has a wonderful history of service, not only in our military, but also public service in the police and the fire. So we honor that legacy. The mayor tapped on something very, very important as well, about unity in our country. And it was one of the best things to remember about 9/11 was when I arrived in Washington, we were all together. Republicans and Democrats, it was one team, one fight. You know, figure out how this happened, figure out how to make America stronger so that it never happens again, and do what's right for the American people. I miss that unity. There's great divisions now in Washington. We need to get back to that. We need to see each other as brothers and sisters and as fellow Americans. We need to put the division behind us and realize that whatever challenges come before us, we face them best with the greatest amount of power and firmness when we are united. When we're united, no one can defeat us here in the United States. We just got to remember that. I deeply appreciate the way the mayor, my colleagues in government and at the state level and the city council as well, we operate as a team. We operate as a team. I appreciate their willingness to support our police and fire. I know the funding that comes through the state and the city as well. I deeply appreciate the respect and the dignity that our mayor, Mayor Tom Cope, gives to our public safety officers and the way he regards them. It's part of his own family, and he treats it that way. May God bless all of our public safety officers, all of our first responders, all of those who have put on the uniform of this country to keep us safe around the world. May God bless the city of Quincy, and may God continue to bless these United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. That's our ceremony for this year, folks. Thank you for being with us once again to remember. Thank you.
Detail, this,